I was out of town for just 3 days. 3 days. And in that tiny window, my ex-sister-in-law decided it was the perfect time to slide into my husband's life and into his DMs. But the screenshot I received at 2:17 a.m. didn't just expose her intentions. It exposed the truth about why she wanted my marriage to fall apart all along. My relationship with my ex-sister-in-law, Nadia, was always strange. On the outside we were polite. We smiled at family events, exchanged small talk, and acted like everything was fine. But underneath that surface there was always tension. She used to be married to my husband's brother. Their divorce was loud, messy, and full of drama. But even after leaving the family legally, she never actually left. She kept showing up, calling, visiting, inserting herself into everything like she still belonged. Her jealousy toward me wasn't obvious at first. It was subtle, small comments that sounded innocent but carried a sting. A compliment that felt more like an insult. A comparison that made no sense. Little digs about my job, my style, even my cooking. And she watched me closely as if she was waiting for me to make one wrong move. I chose to ignore all of it. I didn't want unnecessary drama. I didn't want to believe she had a problem with me. But ignoring her didn't stop what was coming. As everything changed. On one single weekend. The whole situation began with something completely normal. I had to go out of town for a short work training. Nothing exciting, nothing stressful, just 2 days away. My husband stayed home with our daughter. I felt comfortable because he's a great dad and we trust each other completely. What I didn't expect was Nadia suddenly becoming more active in the family again. During those exact days she started visiting my mother-in-law more often. And my mother-in-law lives on the same street as our house. Just a few doors down. At the time I didn't think much of it. I thought it was just one of her usual attempts to stay close to the family. But later I realized she wasn't just visiting. She was watching. Waiting. Planning something she had probably wanted to do for a long time. And my short work trip gave her the perfect chance. On my first night away something strange happened at home. My husband told me later that around 11 p.m. he got a call from Nadia. It was unexpected because she never called him directly. She always acted like contacting him was inappropriate or crossing a line. So when her name flashed on his screen so late at night, he hesitated before picking up. She sounded overly sweet, almost nervous. She said she was just checking if he was okay while I was gone. But then she suddenly shifted the conversation. She asked him, "Are you happy with her? Like, really happy?" That question caught him off guard. He kept the conversation short, answered politely, and ended the call. But something about her tone didn't sit right with him. At the time he thought maybe she was just lonely or emotional. But looking back, that call was her testing the waters. Her first move. And it was only the beginning. The very next night, Nadia took things even further. Around midnight my husband received a long message from her. At first it seemed harmless. She wrote, "Just checking on you. Hope you're not feeling lonely." But then the tone changed. She started writing about how she always felt a special connection with him. She said she understood him better than most people. And then came the part that crossed every line. "If you ever feel unappreciated, I'm here. I always have been." My husband stared at the message in shock. He didn't reply. He didn't encourage her. He didn't even give her a chance to explain. He took a screenshot right away. And then he blocked her number. He didn't tell me that night because he didn't want to upset me while I was away. But that message, that one message, was the spark that lit the fire. And soon I was about to see everything with my own eyes. At 2:17 in the morning my phone buzzed. Half asleep I reached for it thinking it was a work message. But it was from my husband. When I opened it I saw a screenshot. Nadia's message word for word. Her connection, her feelings, her offer to be there for him while I was gone. In that moment, any sleep left in my body disappeared. I didn't feel angry at my husband. Not for a second. Because he handled it the right way. He didn't flirt back. He didn't leave room for misunderstanding. He blocked her immediately. But seeing her words, knowing she waited until I was away, realizing she had planned this, that made something in my chest tighten. This wasn't a mistake. It wasn't an emotional outburst. It was intentional. And that was the moment I knew. Everything was about to change. After sending me the screenshot, my husband couldn't sleep. Something about the whole situation felt bigger than just one message. So he decided to look a little deeper. He checked her social media first. And suddenly things started to make sense. For months, Nadia had been posting little hints. Sad quotes about losing someone you love. Posts about second chances. And comments that seemed aimed at our marriage. Then he checked a group chat with some family members. And that's where the truth really hit. Nadia had been talking about us behind our backs. Spreading lies. Twisting stories. She told people we were having problems. She said I didn't appreciate him. She even claimed we were considering divorce. None of it was true. Not a single word. He wasn't just jealous. She was creating a story where she became the hero. And I became the villain. And she had been doing it long before she sent that message. That was the moment we realized. This wasn't random. This wasn't accidental. She had been preparing the ground for a long time. Waiting for the perfect moment to make her move. And my trip out of town gave her exactly that. When I came back home, I expected to feel relaxed after my trip. Instead, there was a quiet tension in the air. My husband hugged me a little tighter than usual. And I could tell something was still weighing on him. But I didn't explode. I didn't storm around or start shouting. I stayed calm. Because I realized something important. Reacting in anger would only give Nadia exactly what she wanted. He wanted drama. She wanted to look like the victim. He wanted to twist the story again. So I kept my voice steady. I let my husband tell me everything at his pace. Every detail. Every message. Every lie she had spread. And as I listened, my anger didn't disappear. It sharpened. This wasn't just disrespect. This was betrayal from someone who pretended to be family. But instead of acting on impulse, I made a decision. I would handle this in a way she would never forget. I would stay quiet until it was time to strike. And that moment was coming very soon. A few days later, my mother-in-law invited everyone to a family dinner. She said it was just a casual get-together, but I knew this was the moment. Everyone would be in one place. No escaping, no excuses, no lies. When we arrived, Nadia was already there. She smiled at me like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't messaged my husband in the middle of the night. Like she hadn't tried to paint me as a bad wife. Like she hadn't been planning all of this behind my back. Her fake friendliness almost made me laugh. She hugged my mother-in-law, acted sweet, and pretended she was part of the family. But I noticed she kept glancing at my husband. Quick, nervous looks like she was checking if he had told me everything. I sat down calmly, keeping the same quiet expression. Inside I was holding back a storm. But on the surface I gave her nothing. Throughout dinner she talked too much. Laughed too loudly. Tried too hard to seem confident. She had no idea what was coming. She had no idea that this dinner was not a gathering. It was a trap. And she had walked straight into it. After everyone finished eating, the room felt calm, almost peaceful. Perfect. I looked around the table, then at Nadia, who was busy pretending she belonged there. That was my moment. I placed my fork down slowly and said, "If anyone wants to confess something, now's a good time." The table went silent. Nadia's smile froze. She glanced at me, then at my husband, confused and nervous. My husband didn't say a word. He simply unlocked his phone, opened the screenshot of her message, and set it in the center of the table for everyone to see. Her words, "If you ever feel unappreciated, I'm here," lit up the screen like a spotlight. My mother-in-law gasped. My father-in-law's face turned red. Nadia's eyes widened and she immediately started shaking her head. "It's not what it looks like," she stammered. "It was a joke. I was just being supportive." He misunderstood. But her voice cracked. And no one believed her. Every excuse she tried made her look worse. Every lie she scrambled to cover up made the truth clearer. She wasn't expecting him to keep proof. She wasn't expecting us to confront her. And she definitely wasn't expecting her entire act to fall apart in front of the whole family. The room was completely silent after the screenshot was revealed. Everyone stared at Nadia. Her confident act had vanished. All that charm, all that fake sweetness. It crumbled in an instant. My husband calmly explained what had happened. He told everyone that she sent that message late at night, that he immediately blocked her, and that he never encouraged her in any way. He showed them how calculated her actions were. Nadia tried to speak, tried to defend herself, but her excuses sounded weak, desperate, and dishonest. She blamed stress, she said it was a joke. But every word made her look worse. Even her own ex-husband, my brother-in-law, who had stayed out of family conflicts, spoke up. "This is exactly why we divorced," he said quietly, shaking his head. My mother-in-law looked at her in shock, then turned to us with relief in her eyes, realizing we weren't the problem. My father-in-law firmly told Nadia she could no longer attend family events or interfere in our lives. Her face turned pale. She stumbled out of the room muttering excuses, but no one followed her. The truth had spoken for itself. Her plan had completely backfired, and in one night she had destroyed her own image in the family. Later that night, after Nadia had stormed out, I knew my work wasn't fully done. The family had seen the truth, but I wanted her to understand that crossing the line had consequences, and that I would never let her try anything like this again. I recorded a voice message, calm and steady, choosing every word carefully. Not angry, not yelling, just controlled and firm. "Stay away from my family," I said. "Stay away from my husband. You didn't just lose access to this home, you lost access to every person in it." I sent it and blocked her everywhere. Phone, social media, messaging apps. No arguments, no back and forth. Just silence. I didn't want to give her a chance to manipulate, explain, or twist the story again. She needed to feel the full weight of her actions alone. For the first time I felt a sense of peace. The betrayal, the lies, the attempts to interfere. All of it was behind me. And she was left with nothing. No family influence, no control, no chance to hurt us again. It was quiet, final, and absolute. This was my revenge. Calm, precise, and undeniable. And it worked perfectly. The days after Nadia's betrayal felt different. There was a new calm in our home, a sense of relief that had been missing for months. My husband and I talked more openly than ever about everything. Small things, big things, even how we handled Nadia. It brought us closer, made us realize how much we trusted each other. He appreciated that I had stayed calm and handled the situation strategically. I appreciated how he acted immediately, didn't hide anything, and protected our family. We laughed about how ridiculous Nadia's plans had been, but we also acknowledged the seriousness of what could have happened if we hadn't been careful. Family dynamics shifted too. Relatives who had been quietly influenced by Nadia's lies now saw the truth. Our relationship with them grew stronger because we faced this together, united. Most importantly, I felt empowered. I realized that standing up calmly and strategically to someone trying to destroy your happiness works better than reacting with anger. Our marriage wasn't just safe. It became stronger, deeper, and more trusting. Nadia? She faded out of our lives, powerless and irrelevant, while we moved forward, stronger than ever. Looking back, I realized something important. Some people don't want your happiness, they want your life. They try to sneak in, create chaos, and make you doubt yourself. Nadia was one of those people. But revenge doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. It doesn't need shouting, fighting, or creating more drama. The most effective revenge is calm, calculated, and precise. It's showing someone their actions have consequences without losing your own peace. My marriage came out stronger, our trust deeper, and our family closer. Nadia? She lost her influence, her lies, and her chance to hurt us. If someone ever tries to interfere in your life, remember. Stay calm, expose the truth, and let their actions destroy themselves. Sometimes that's the most satisfying revenge of all.